Through the viewfinder, Joseph watched the human deadlift. His implant blared, reading beyond safe biomechanical parameters. Logging denied.
This is impossible. No species generates that load without shattering bones.
The Bureau promised elderly humans on treadmills. Joseph walked into a powerlifting meet. Joseph filmed the skull-painted man strain under 280 kilos. The implant rejected the reading immediately.
He dismissed the warning as a sensor glitch, but the red light kept pulsing.
Little stiff today, Mike. That's what happens when you hit 53.
The next lifter, a human female, locked out her deadlift. The implant denied the log once more. He filmed a squat attempt. The rejection came before the human racked the bar. After the sixth lifter, the implant locked entirely. Red alien text glowed, system locked, unsafe data logging detected.
Joseph's breath hitched. This was no glitch. These humans were doing something that shouldn't be possible. Recreational activities, he said. Elderly humans walking slowly. That was the assignment.
He raised his implant to call Director William. The screen stayed frozen, system locked, no outgoing link on Vecnen Prime. William's implant pulsed without warning. A compressed data burst from Earth had arrived. The logs were a cascade of rejected readings. Then the clip played, a human back straining, numbers that shouldn't exist. William's expression shifted from curiosity to something sharper. He pulled up the raw telemetry and saw the implant's emergency flag.
A human can't produce that load without shattering every vertebrae. It's a sensor fault.
Then his implant displayed a cold official message. Bureau Medical Escrow engaged. Manual review required. William grabbed a communicator and opened a direct line to Joseph's implant.
Joseph, the data you sent is impossible. Do not transmit anything else. Stay where you are and wait for my contact.
Joseph heard William's voice through the implant's tinny speaker. His reply would never go through.
He tapped reset commands. The implant stayed locked. No override, no bypass. The female lifter chalked her hands. Joseph raised the camera. The passive scanner logged lumbar stress at triple the emergency threshold. A bench press. The bar bent. The silent alarm ticked another impossible entry. Joseph pulled up the raw log. Every lift from the meet. 23 attempts, all flagged with the same rejection code.
6 different bodies, all producing forces that would liquefy any other species. This is no malfunction.
He overlaid Anthony's reading on a biomechanical scale. The line shot past the species max marker and kept climbing.
The scanner is working perfectly. The humans are the anomaly.
He looked toward the chalk-covered man who had laughed about being stiff.
He called it a little stiff, as if pain were just weather. I need to ask him. I need to hear what they think is happening to their bodies.
Joseph walked over as Mike stepped away. The skull-painted man rolled his shoulders, neck still crackling from his last lift.
Excuse me, Vecnan Bureau. Why do you do this? It looks painful.
Painful? Only a little. It's fun, son. Nothing wakes you up like pulling a heavy bar.
Your spine just absorbed enough force to collapse any other vertebrate. You are not injured?
Injured? I am a little stiff. That's how I know I worked. Tomorrow, I'll be stronger.
Joseph's implant, still passively linked, transmitted every word as encrypted ambient data straight to the Vecn Bureau. Director William received the stream on a priority channel. He routed it to the on-call medical officer without a word. The medical officer went silent for 6 seconds. Then his voice came through, tight as wire. This footage is psychologically injurious. If it leaks, it could cause mass panic.
Keep filming, Joseph. This is now official evidence gathering. Do not interact further without clearance.
Evidence of what? The human smiled like he'd just eaten a good meal.
In the Vecn Medical Authority chamber, the council gathered. The Earth footage played on a central hollow screen.
Chairman Kresh struck his ceremonial gavel. Lifters, self-inflicted trauma. They smile while tearing their flesh. He jabbed at the frozen grimace of a human female mid-deadlift. Is this what we want our children to see?
A technician overlaid a muscle scan. The fibers were riddled with tears. yet the surrounding tissue was denser, stronger. A junior doctor spoke before Kresh could wave him down, but they appear uninjured. Their bodies adapt faster than any species we know.
Kresh slammed his hand. If they adapt, then our entire medical framework could be questioned. Silence that line of inquiry.
The vote carried. The Earth documentary was sealed under the Psychological Harm Act. As the red band stamp flattened across the file, a young administrative clerk slipped a personal message into an encrypted channel. Joseph's implant pinged. The text read, "They fear that stress builds strength. The ban is a lie."
Joseph felt cold. The medical authority wasn't protecting him. They were protecting a comfortable self-deception.
Joseph linked his implant to a portable diagnostic slate and peeled back its operating layers. Behind the user interface, in the calibration kernel, a protocol file sat flagged, Species Safety Filter. The filter automatically classified any biomechanical load exceeding 2,000 units as a sensor defect. No error logs, just silent suppression.
It was never broken. The implant was designed to make these readings disappear.
He overlaid human and Vecnin recovery charts. Human muscle spiked after stress. Vecnid tissue flatlined.
Our doctrine teaches that stress destroys, but the data shows it builds capacity. They hid this on purpose.
The suppression wasn't about protecting viewers from scary footage. It was about preserving a medical orthodoxy that sold fragility as safety. He duplicated all unfiltered logs, the deadlift telemetry, the hidden protocol, the original footage onto a hardened-off network drive. Then he wiped the local trail and pocketed the drive like contraband.
If they learn what I found, I'll never leave Earth.
William's voice crackled through Joseph's implant. "Joseph, erase all local recordings. Your transport home is arranged. Do not argue."
Understood, Director. Deleting now.
The implant screen showed a deletion bar. Meanwhile, his slate streamed the duplicate packet to an off-world relay under a blind signature. The relay was a neutral station that didn't log origins. The evidence would wait there, silent and intact. On Vecnan Prime, William's implant chimed with a bureau-wide directive. The Earth footage was now sealed under the Psychological Harm Act. The formal statement was cold. Earth recreational content is psychologically injurious. All project credits revised. Joseph's implant displayed the same notice. Then it added a line. Your project credit has been removed.
They're erasing me. I am not going back.
He powered down the implant entirely and laid it on the nightstand. A tracker he could no longer afford.
The next transmission from Veccan won't be a directive. It'll be a retrieval squad.
Joseph slipped away from the arranged extraction point and walked through the early morning fog to a park bench where Anthony waited.
Anthony, thank you for coming. I need to understand, why do humans do this to themselves?
We call it progressive overload. You stress the muscle, tear it down, and it grows back stronger. It's not just exercise, it's a philosophy.
A philosophy of self-destruction that ends in strength. My entire civilization was taught the opposite.
Son, if you never let anything stress you, you never get stronger. That's true for muscles, and it's true for life.
As they spoke, Vecnin Bureau flagged Joseph's missed transport. An alert carved through the morning feeds. Operative Joseph, absconded, apprehend immediately.
They'll never let me leave now. I am a fugitive.
Well then, you'd better learn to get stronger. Come to my garage. I'll show you how it's done.
Joseph looked at the human's extended hand. There was no other path. He took it.
Anthony was right.
In Anthony's garage, among engine parts and chalk dust, Joseph grasped a barbell for the first time. His slate now tracked his own vital signs.
First lesson. We condition the mind to welcome the strain. You stop when your form breaks, not when it hurts.
Joseph braced the bar. His first deadlift with training plates shuddered his thin frame. The implant recorded 800 units. No alarm, only data.
My body screams stop. The human says again.
Days became weeks. Joseph's biometric graph curved upward for the first time. His wrist display now red. Adaptation detected. Muscle density increasing.
It works. Stress builds, not destroys.
He recorded the final footage of his counter-documentary, Voice Horse, showing his own strength gains as proof of the lie. Then, a Vecnen intercept hissed through his slate. Retrieval authorized. Agents inbound. Earth atmosphere entry approved.
They can't stop it now. The evidence is already off-world.
In the pre-dawn park, Joseph heard the low hum of a Vecnen search drone. He pressed into the shadow of a maintenance shed, holding his breath.
They're here for me. Anthony's garage isn't safe anymore.
You are really leaving then. Take this. A block of chalk. Remember the lesson.
A symbol of stress that builds, not destroys.
He found a smuggler on a neutral station who asked no questions. A berth on a ship bound for a distant Vecnon. Before boarding, he sent a single-line transmission to Director William. The words blinked on the slate. Anthony was right. The smuggler ship lifted from the pad, cutting through cloud. Joseph watched Earth recede through a scratched viewport.
They'll call me a traitor, but I am the only one telling the truth.
Days later, the ship settled on a remote Vecnoon. A makeshift sign poked from the regolith, GYM 500M.
All right, let's see if Vecnin can learn to get stronger.
He rented a pressurized unit at the colony's edge and welded scrap metal into squat stands and a deadlift platform. A salvaged neon tube flickered outside. Antony was right. In Vecnan script and English, weeks passed. Passers-by read the sign and frowned, then hurried on.
Maybe Vecnin will never understand.
On the 31st day, the door chime rang. A thin young Vecnan with eyes stood clutching the door frame.
Your sign? What does Anthony was right mean? It means humans discovered something. Stress makes you stronger. They damage their muscles on purpose so they rebuild denser. But our doctors say stress destroys. We must protect ourselves from any strain. They lied. For centuries. I have the proof, my own body, and the data from Earth. Show me. I want to try.
Joseph loaded a lightweight bar and showed the young Vecnan how to brace. Drive through the legs. Don't fear the pressure.
Every instinct says stop, but he said the fear is the point.
3 weeks later, the young Vecnan's medical scan revealed a 12% increase in muscle density. He uploaded it to the colony's open infonet. The post spread. By the end of the week, 12 Vecnen had walked through Joseph's door, including a colony doctor who demanded proof. Then the local regulatory office sent 3 inspectors. A cold notice scrolled on their slate. Unsanctioned medical practice. Cease operations. They dragged Joseph out past his own neon sign. A crowd gathered as the arrest warrant flickered in the dome's artificial light.
You can't bury the truth. Here are my scans. Read them.
One by one, his clients stepped forward, displaying their own before and after graphs. The crowd's murmur swelled into demands. The colony magistrate, flooded with complaints, released Joseph within the hour. The inspectors vanished.
They tried to stop it, but the truth already spread.
The footage of Joseph's release, the client's scans, the neon sign, all raced across Vecnan space. News anchors called it the Load Rebellion.
Chairman Kresh's face filled every channel. A rogue operative peddles self-harm as strength. Our ban protects the fragile from this toxic fantasy.
Within hours, 3 junior doctors resigned live on air. Their letter read, "We will not enforce a lie that denies our people the capacity to grow." Then a centuries-old internal memo leaked. Stress adaptation observed in subject species. Recommend suppression to preserve public compliance with protective doctrine. Crowds gathered outside the medical council. Their hollow signs read, "Stress builds, protection destroys."
They're actually reading the sign. My sign. A reporter shoved a microphone at the young Vecun. He stared into it and said, Anthony was right. We just never knew we could be stronger.
Kresh's own advisors began avoiding his gaze. The ban had been about control, not safety, and the galaxy was starting to understand. The network of Joseph's gym had become a movement, and the movement had a name. The Load.
They can't suppress this. Not anymore.
A private channel opened on Joseph's slate. Director William's face was drawn, older than Joseph remembered.
Joseph, I knew about the suppression protocols. I followed orders, and I buried your work. I am sorry.
I don't need your apology. I need the footage released. Undated. In return, I'll drop any charges against the Bureau.
Done. The original documentary will hit every Vecnen net within the hour. Legalize your gym. You've earned it.
The ban lifted. The documentary, once sealed as psychologically injurious, streamed across the galaxy. Viewers saw the skull-painted man lift 280 kilos, heard Joseph's implant lock, watched Kresh's gavel fall, and understood within hours. It was the most watched medical documentary in Vecn history. The comments flooded. Anthony was right.
William actually did it. The gym is legal. The truth is out.
The Bureau issued Joseph's gym a formal license. On the moon, the neon sign burned brighter than ever.
Now we build, not just a gym, a new understanding of what our bodies can do.
Joseph opened a second gym on Vecnan Prime, then a third. Each bore the neon sign, Anthony was right. The load had become a franchise. The Vecnetical Authority published a revised text. Chapter 7. The load principle. Stress properly applied builds capacity. On Earth, Anthony's deadlift clip, the moment that locked Joseph's implant, became the movement's anthem. Children mimicked it in schoolyards.
Still, just a plumber. Stiff but stronger.
Joseph printed the first business cards. Black ink on white. Anthony was right. He handed the first card to a Vecn mother who had never lifted anything heavier than a datapad. She read it, nodded, and stepped to the platform. That image, a Vecnan mother gripping a barbell, became the next viral post. The load was for everyone. Stress didn't discriminate. The authority never apologized, but the new textbook was apology enough.
Anthony was right, and the galaxy knew.
3 years later, a Vecn deadlifted twice his body weight at the first interspecies meet. The crowd, human and Vecn, roared. Vecnine athletes now stood on the platform beside humans, not as curiosities but as competitors. The movement had erased a line no one knew was drawn. Joseph's 100th gym opened on a Vecn colony world. He stood before the neon sign. Anthony was right and faced the crowd.
My friend Anthony, a plumber from Earth, taught me the simplest truth. If you never break, you never rebuild.
He opened his palm to show the crowd the chalk block Anthony had given him, still white, still whole.
For centuries, we protected ourselves from stress because we feared it would destroy us. But stress is the voice that says, you can be more.
The crowd, Vecn, human, mixed, responded not with applause, but with a sudden hunger to lift. 100 hands reached for the barbells inside. The medical text was rewritten. The ban became a footnote in a history of fear. Joseph looked out at the sea of faces, each one a testament that the load teaches.
We didn't just lift weights, we lifted a civilization.
The original gym on the Vecn moon had become a museum. The plaque read, "Where a banned cameraman proved that stress is strength." Joseph, older now, walked through the preserved door. The chalk dust still hung in the air, frozen in the museum's memory. A young Vecnan girl, no older than 6, struggled with a miniature barbell. Her parents smiled from a bench. Her voice piped, "Look, I am lifting." She wobbled, stubborn. Joseph knelt. He opened his palm, the chalk block, white and whole, the one Anthony had pressed into his hand decades ago. He placed it in the girl's slate blue fingers. She closed them, grinning, a gap in her teeth. Joseph felt a tear slide into the lines around his eyes.
Anthony was right, he whispered, to himself. To the dust.
The girl pulled the bar from the floor. The miniature plates clinked. The plaque high on the wall caught the light. The words held, unworn, at a busy Vecnan transit station. A street vendor's stall offered replicas of the famous business card. A human tourist, backpack slung, picked up a replica and read aloud. Anthony was right. He read. The Vecnen elder behind the stall nodded. Yes, he was right, and now we all know. He pointed upward. Across the square, a massive gym billboard. glowed with the same words. The slogan had become ordinary, a fact as accepted as gravity. Passers-by in training gear bore the phrase on shirts. It was no longer rebellion, just life. Across the square, a gym window played the original documentary. The barred lift that locked an implant. Tourists now bought the cards as souvenirs of a truth that had reshaped a civilization. The ban was gone, the lie undone, and every day someone new picked up the load. In his garage on Earth, Anthony loaded the bar for a moderate deadlift. At 78, the plate still clanked.
Still pulling, huh? Those Vecnan would have you in a museum.
Museum. Ha. They just needed to learn that a little hurt isn't the end of the world.
He set his back, pulled smooth. The bar rose without drama, the way only decades of practice allow.
Remember when that little blue guy thought you'd shatter your spine? Look at you now.
Joseph. He got it faster than most. Fear's the only real injury.
He drank from a chipped mug, then set it down beside the photo of a thin alien holding a barbell.
Still, a little stiff, though.
The words hung in the air, a quiet echo of the thing that changed a galaxy.
All that fear, and it was just a matter of picking up the bar.
In a warm Vecnan home, the girl who once received the chalk block sat beside her mother before a floating textbook. The mother read aloud. Chapter 7, The Load Principle. Stress, properly applied, builds capacity. The page bore the famous photograph, a young Joseph and the skull-painted man, both gripping a barbell, chalk dust frozen in the air. Her mother touched the image and explained that the photograph taught a civilization that the fear of breaking is worse than breaking. The girl pointed at the human with the painted face and asked if he was still lifting. Her mother answered that he was, and that he was still a little stiff. The girl grinned, a gap in her teeth. Then she pushed away from the book and walked to her corner of the room. There, her miniature barbell rested on a handmade platform, chalk block beside it. She wrapped her small blue fingers around the bar and braced as if listening to old advice. The textbook floated shut. The load principle had become a bedtime story. Joseph locked the door of his first gym, the one where a band cameraman proved that stress is strength. The neon sign hummed outside, but inside, only silence. He walked to the deadlift platform and knelt on the worn wood, the way a man kneels at a grave. From his pocket, he drew the original chalk-dusted business card, the one Anthony had inspired. Its edges were soft from years of handling, the ink still crisp, the chalk dust from Earth still clinging. He placed it in the center of the platform, where the heaviest bars had bent, and where a Vecnan girl first lifted. The chalk dust of countless lifters had settled around it, a thin white film that never fully vanished. The sign flickered, throwing blue and gold light across the empty floor. The words "Anthony was right," reflecting, Anthony was right. The gym held its breath. Barbells rested, plates were silent, waiting, and the dust settled, patient as a loaded bar, waiting for the next morning and the next pair of hands. The gyms now stood on 100 worlds. Each bore the neon sign, Anthony was right. On Earth, the 24-hour gym in Phoenix still opened at 5 in the morning. New lifters chalked their hands. In the museum gallery, the band documentary played on a loop. Visitors sat in the dark, watching the skull-painted man pull. A kids' lifting class began on a Vecnan orbital station. Miniature barbells rose in tiny blue hands. An elder Vecnan champion deadlifted twice his body weight. The crowd roared, no trace of fear in their faces. A wall in Joseph's gym was covered with before and after photos. Alien faces, human faces, all transformed. The historic moment that locked an implant. Anthony's deadlift frozen from Joseph's camera. The HUD error still read. The skull-painted human was calm, his back straining, the barbell bending. The image held a testament to stress that builds. The galaxy remembered. And every morning, someone new picked up the bar, fade to black.